Greetings again, friends. This Lessons to Learn Ministries YouTube channel is intended to teach you practical ways you can apply the Bible to your life. Now, we address many different issues on here. We address cultural trends and what goes on in current events, and we apply the biblical truth to those things. Now, we take the Bible itself and we exposit the truth that is in the Bible, often in the videos that are here, and we want you to help learn how you can relate better to God and please Him through what the Scriptures say. So we desire to encourage your faith and to help you grow in that faith and give you practical wisdom that will help your faith journey in whatever direction you are facing with trials or anything in your life. So before we go forward today, be sure to subscribe to this channel. Now, that's easy to do. It's free. You can just go down below and take a moment, and that helps increase the activity to this channel and the outreach of what we're doing here. So if you appreciate and benefit from any of these videos and what we're producing, just make sure you subscribe, and that will help us out. We consistently have more people that are watching these videos. We have a lot of different people watching videos, but most of them, the majority actually, are not subscribed. So if you're watching, just take a moment and subscribe real quick. Now, thoughts come to mind, and even videos on this channel that you should watch. The last video that we did was how messed up everything is. Here we see this in America for sure, but it's all over the world. We see problems and things are messed up, and it should motivate us to be certain that we are going to vote. Now, in this video, we are going to be talking about voting. You should consider this and voting for what is right and supporting that. But go back and look at that messed up video if you haven't seen that. And you might even want to go back and look at the divine ping pong video that we did. And that even relates to this subject today with taking responsibility even in voting. When you think about this, there are good reasons why we, if given the opportunity, should vote. And I want to go over at least 10 of these. In this video, I had thought about doing the reasons to vote and the reasons why people don't vote. But as I got to thinking about it, I thought there was a better way to do it. So in this video, we are going to talk about why people don't vote. Now, sadly, I know and even work with people who do not vote or are not planning to vote. And even in this important and consequential election that we have in America, that is concerning. Of course, that all culminates on November the 5th of this year, and we'll know more then. But I realize that many of you watching here are probably even from other places, and you may live in an area where voting is different where you are, even if it's allowed. In some places of the world, you don't have that democracy. But democracy is a part of many countries, and America is looked at as the most influential democracy and strongest in the world. Of course, we're technically organized as a democratic republic. And of course, democracy is a rule of the majority of what the people decide. But we're a democratic republic, and there's representation from each of the states, and we could get into that more, but we won't here. But I address the political issues a little bit more in other videos, and there's actually a political issues playlist that you could go to and you could view that. But for today, I thought it would be appropriate for us to get into why people do not vote. Now, it is going to be something that you will appreciate, and as we go forward, I will talk about each reason they don't vote, which might help you to think it through more so that you would. But the next video that I record, I'm planning to go into the top 10 reasons why you should vote, and it might include things you haven't thought about yet. So let's start here with number 10 as we count down why people do not vote. Now, the 10th reason is simply that they're not eligible. Now, this should be true for anyone who's not a citizen. And even though some Democrats today are trying to get people who are not citizens to be eligible to vote. And there are other reasons why you can't vote, which would include something like being a felon. And Democrats are also trying to get felons to vote. I guess they're desperate for more votes, but you're only eligible to vote if you are if where you reside, you are living there, and that could be a reason you're not eligible because you moved or something. But if you have registered and are eligible, you can vote in that area. But that's one reason, the 10th reason why people do not vote, because they're not eligible. Now, number 9 is that they're not registered. Now, if you're not eligible, that's one thing, but if you're eligible but don't register, you can't vote. Every election, there is an opportunity for people to go and register before you vote. And usually in America, it's this way, where you have to register at least a month before, because there's paperwork and things that are done, and to be eligible to vote in that election. There's other rules and stuff you'd have to check locally to what it is with you. So let's go to number 8. The 8th reason why people do not vote is that they're just not certain where and how to vote. You have ignorance as to where and how to vote as a reason people give, but it's really an excuse not to vote, because all you have to do is look this up or ask questions, and you can figure out based on what is out there to let you know where you should vote and how you might want to vote. The personal experience or knowledge that you do not have doesn't mean that you should not vote, because it can easily be learned. All right, let's go to number 7. Why people do not vote. Now, of course, the 10th was not eligible, the 9th not registered, the 8th not certain where and how. The 7th is not healthy enough. Now, many people are struggling, and there are people that are hospitalized, and you can't vote if you're in the hospital, or at least not without some other means to make it possible through a mail-in or something. But there are options like that are still available, even if you have health difficulties and cannot get out. If you desire to vote, there are ways that you can, even if your health limits you. But that was the number 7 reason that I had. So let's go to number 6. Why people do not vote. A lack of transportation. Now, this is one that I know of a person that I work with who I spoke with even as I'm recording this video on this day about the issue with transportation that she has. Now, we know that transportation can be an issue. Not everybody has a car, and it is sometimes difficult to get out. But again, there are options if you want to vote, and if you can't get out, there's some people willing to give rides, or if you can't get out, you can probably even apply and get a mail-in ballot so you can vote. So there's still other opportunities, even though that is a reason given why people do not vote. Now, the next reason, as we count down as to why people do not vote, is that they're simply too busy. Now, this is a problem in our society. Our society seems to be so busy. There are people that are going here and there and everywhere. And as you're doing that, the busy lifestyle just keeps you so busy that you don't even stop to take time to vote because it's like it doesn't really fit into your schedule. So it's just because the things in your life are more important to you than voting. All right, so let's go to the fourth reason as we count down why people do not vote. The fourth reason is that there was negative experience that they had in the past. Sometimes, this also applies to someone that I work with, that I talk to. Sometimes there is a situation where someone was negatively impacted when they went to vote or were involved in the political process. Perhaps they were pressured by special interest groups, or maybe even disappointed by a broken promise, or maybe disillusioned by what they see and how things are so pat you on the back and seemingly phony at times. But there are people that have had very negative experiences, and so they just decide that they don't want that negative experience again, so they won't vote. Okay, so number 3 in our top 10 reasons why people do not vote is they're confused about who to support. Now, this is one that is a little more legitimate, as there is so much information that hits you in commercials, in media driven announcements that try to get you to support someone, and it's hard to know sometimes where a person stands. But if you do your research and you're diligent, you can find out the right information. Now, one way that you can know for sure about where a person is going to stand and what they'll do is what party affiliation they have. Now, your party affiliation is important. It is not how everyone decides to vote, because some people switch between, but the party stands for something, and most people elected will vote according to that party platform, and they will go along with the issues that party presents as where they stand. So you can easily go, in America, you can go to the Democratic or the Republican website, and you can see what they say about what their stances are, so that you can be informed about what they believe firsthand and how they will govern in the ways in which they emphasize the things they say in their platform. So that will help you to know. And if you're diligent and if there's questions, you can find out about any particular candidate, but know that they're going to vote according to the party platform and what is present in the emphasis of that party. Okay, so let's now get down to the next reason why people do not vote. Number 2, the second reason is that people think it won't make a difference. Now, this could have been the first reason, and I sort of was going to make it that, but I've got another one I want to mention that some people may not consider, but is a real reason. Number 2, that it won't make a difference, or you think it won't. Well, many people are convinced that because politics tends to grow corrupt, that the process of voting just doesn't matter. They think that whatever the outcome is, that the results really can't be trusted. They just believe somehow it was rigged, and so the voting is just a formality, and it doesn't really make a difference. Now, the idea could also be that one vote, that is, one vote among so many or millions of other votes, how could that one possibly make a difference? Well, when enough people think this way, it suppresses the vote, and it really does change the outcomes. You should think about that. Now, this especially comes when it applies to local races. As people vote, we often have more people, we do have more people voting in a national election, but local races are very important. And they often are ones that are decided more closely, and they're impacted when you don't vote. Because when you vote, you don't just vote for the top position as the president, you vote for others also as you go through that. It is important to understand. Now, an example of this could be like how a pollster or media would present a certain result in an area through the exit polls they do, or through the media saying results, and people hear that in areas where the polls aren't closed or where there are people still voting. Then it becomes something that can suppress the vote, because they might just reason, well, it's not going to make a difference, I may as well stop waiting in line and go on home. Now, I addressed this in another video that I did in the past, and ways that it has received more views than many have on this channel, and that is, does one really make a difference? So check that out, and I particularly give how one vote made such a difference in very important things and changed the course of history, and certainly influenced in different ways. Voting, voting really does make a difference. It makes such a difference in our lives. It makes a difference even if you do not realize the difference. It makes a difference in you, in other people, to those around you. It makes a difference to those who are paying attention to how you vote, and when, and possibly even to the people who are elected and who lead. They want to know who voted for them. And how many people. So it does make a difference. It always makes a difference, and it makes a difference to God how you vote. Now that brings me to that number one in the top 10 countdown as we come to why people do not vote. The number one reason why I think people do not vote, at least that may be watching this channel, and as you think about it more, is that they say, I live for the kingdom of God. Friends, a person of faith or a Christian may think that voting isn't necessary, because God is going to put someone into power who he wants anyway, whoever he wills, so what does it matter? They may also try to reason that what we do in God's kingdom is really all that matters. But if you choose not to vote because of this reasoning, or because of fear, or apathy, or inconvenience, or just unconcern, then you basically are a part of allowing evil to triumph. Because, friends, the devil doesn't rest. He wants evil to come in. He wants to control people through the evil people in leadership that will affect everyone. So you should think about that. And in America, there are plenty of opportunities to help you to vote. So you should not let evil come in. You should continue to vote even if you are a person of faith. If you don't, you're just denying the civic responsibility that you have. And you really deserve not to have the privileges that you may take for granted, simply just rights that you may have as a citizen. So not voting, friends, is really just selfish. When you don't vote, you're not considering yourself or how your vote will affect other people, or how it will affect the glory of God in what can be done in what people could see in a society when right rules when good rules instead of evil. So think about it this way. Jesus calls us to be salt and light. In this world, we are to be that. If you believe on Jesus Christ, then you are his instrument of being salt and light to the world. And in Matthew chapters 5 through 7, we see him saying this directly in his teaching. And he starts with the Beatitudes in Matthew 5 in that Sermon on the Mount. You should look at the Beatitude playlist that I have, because it goes, I teach through every one of the Beatitudes there. But right after the Beatitudes, we have Jesus saying this about being salt and light. Matthew 5:13 says, "You are the salt of the earth, but if the salt loses its flavor, how shall it be seasoned? It is then good for nothing but to be thrown out and trampled underfoot by men." Jesus says you lose your testimony before men if you are not living as salt. If you are not helping to preserve what God says is what is right in the society that you are in the community that you are in. So let's look again more at this in Matthew 5:14. It says, where Jesus spoke, "You are the light of the world. A city that is set on a hill cannot be hidden." Your life is supposed to be the light of Jesus Christ living through you. And in you, when you believe on him, he does. And it's supposed to shine like a city that would be seen by the lights on a hillside. Your life is supposed to shine before others. Look at verse 16 as it relates to this when Jesus concludes. He says, "Let your light so shine before men, that they may see your good works and glorify your Father in heaven." Do you want to give glory to God? Well, one way to do this is to let your light shine, or the way to do that is to let the good that you believe, the light in you, Jesus living in you and through you, shine to other people by doing what is right, by being informed on what is right, and being a good citizen and leading in ways that are righteous instead of ways that are ungodly and against the Bible. Now, I did record another video that talks about voting, and it was, "Did you vote the Bible?" But for now, do not let these top 10 reasons people give as to why they don't vote. Do not let that be true for you, friend. Don't let that stop you from casting your vote. So let's review them one more time, the top 10 reasons why people do not vote. They are not eligible, not registered, not certain where and how, not healthy enough, lack of transportation, too busy, negative experience in the past, confused about who to support, think it won't make a difference, and I live for the kingdom of God. So there you have it. Like this video, share it with others so they will understand these reasons that are mostly just excuses, and subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell so you'll be ready for the next video when we focus on more of the reasons why you should vote.